I probably should have checked. I did have suspicions something like this was going to be the case. Hello. Are we back? Can I get waves in chat or something? Hello and hello slash. Thanks for that, Mel. So it looks like we're back. Better than ever? Better than before? We'll find out. I need a... Wink. Hopefully my tablet's got enough power. Swap this to down here.
All set.
I think so.
Technical issues.
Yeah, yeah.
Outstanding.
It looks like we're back. My tablet says we're unstable, but that generally happens with my tablet. This thing shouldn't be saying that.
Well, I know you're pretty unstable.
Aren't we all? Seems okay now? Alright, so maybe it's just the lingering side effects that we're catching up on. Which is, like, bearable. So we're back. We're back.
We're back.
Welcome. Welcome back, Dad.
Thanks. No, knocked your coffee over.
Oh shit, that would have been nasty.
No,
I would have gone over my switch and...
No, okay, very good. I won't wiggle around.
So, video games. I wanted to talk about this for a number of different reasons.
Big topic.
It's not that big of a topic. I think we've covered bigger topics before.
Okay, yeah, right, fair enough.
I think at least my viewers will more relate to the topics we talk about instead of philosophy, which I don't mind a little bit of that type of discussion. It's not always for everyone. But we both saw the entire 54 minutes presentation of Bethesda's
I did watch
Starfield.
it.
I think first let's cover the base grounds. You play video games. What do you play from video games? What do you think of it? What's your...
What sort of games do I play, or what do I like?
Yeah, both. Like, what's your relationship to video games
I like,
as a whole?
They're an escape. You know, it's great to just do something out in another world. I've enjoyed the games where you tell your own story. You know, you find your own way through. A lot of, you know, the Skyrim things I've loved, and the Fallout series where there's a joy in finding that adventure. And I also enjoy the shooters, just the, you know,
being good,
your first
being
person
like badass
shooter. Just get a bit of a thrill out of, you know, solving puzzles as well. So they're the sort of games I tend to gravitate to. So
how long have you been playing games for? How long? Like, did it have much of an impact in your youth?
When I was young, we had no computers.
Yeah.
But we did have, when I was a kid, my dad or grandfather worked at the DCA, which was the Department of Civil Aviation. And sometimes I go to work with him in Melbourne, and they had a computer, and it was probably the whole floor of a building. It was, you know, back in the early 70s, and I remember they had a game on the computer.
Well, in the entire room that is a computer.
Well, there was a terminal.
Yeah.
So there was a big computer room.
They still
but there
put
was
a game on that. Like I thought they would have look, this is taking entire room. We should use this for research.
Just hang on. The game was a spoken game. So it was typing your response. You're walking down the road. You turn left or right. It's a Y or, you know, yes or no.
Is that like the first video game?
That was, I don't know, but that was the first one I played. The second time, the next evolution of games was my uncle one Christmas bought Pong on the TV. Fucking hell, that was amazing. What a wonderful thing that was, you know. You're playing Pong with the paddles. And then as I grew up, there was arcade games with a big one too. So you go and put your money in the machine and you go and play video games in an arcade. Pac-Man, that sort of
Donkey
thing.
Kong,
Asteroids,
yeah, those early things.
That sort of thing, and then then Wolfenstein came out, and
PC
on PC. They didn't have consoles.
Yeah.
Well, there might have been, but I don't remember. But we had PC, and that was pretty unreal. Like walking through room, you know, you look at it now.
Is this Wolfenstein that is like the not Wolfenstein's Revenge or something, which I think I first thought of, but it's like that Doom game, but
further back before Doom.
Before Doom.
Because Doom was the next one I remember. Because when the first Doom came out, it was like, oh, far out.
Like, this is the direction.
My goodness
it can
me!
go.
Like, how wonderful! Look at the graphics.
Look at those pixels.
Oh my goodness me! There's things rotating. Like, it was amazing.
There's an up and a down.
So
it was fake up down, but
but you know, then it moved to Quake, I think, and there were a whole lot of games like that. A whole lot of PC games and things started to come along. Consoles started to come along. I think we had
then it was like an industry that was there to make money. Yeah.
So about then they were although in those days piracy was sort of just considered normal. You didn't pay for software.
Yeah.
And I used to be antsy. Who paid for software? Like, you know, you just steal it or crack it. And in the early 2000s or 90s, it didn't seem to be a big thing. Even chipping your PlayStation so you can play certain games. Yeah.
I remember chipping like our first PlayStation.
Yeah.
Because like for me, I kind of grew up around games. I do remember like getting so into fucking Tetris one day.
Oh, yeah.
I think we both remember this story. I remember. Oh, we were in Mount Gambier. I can't remember. I have a vague idea of which house, but like I remember. You know, trying to play Tetris and get a high score, and you kept like beating me at it.
Yeah, that's right.
And the motherfucker, you kept teasing me about. It's like, oh, you're not as good as me and shit like that. Like, fuck you. I think I remember like writing in like having a hissy fit or something.
Yeah.
Slamming my door and writing F you on a note.
Yeah.
And then you like try to get a high score but put my name in there, so it's like, oh look, you did it or some shit like that. I'm like, How stupid do you think I was?
I don't remember the specifics of it, but I had a thing in Tetris that I could sort of cheat.
Oh yeah, I figured this out afterwards. I'm like, oh, he didn't do this by skill.
Oh well, sort of skill. What I would do is I'd hit the pause button as the level got really, they drop really fast.
Yeah.
I'd hit a pause button and then I'd look at the piece and I'd count. Right, I know where it's going to go. I need to push that button 3 times to rotate it 3 times to get it in or across whatever. I count them and then I go, and that's how I got such high scores. Because the same happened when I used to play at work too, and everyone was like, "What the fuck? How do you get such high scores?" That's how I did it. Hit the pause it, and then work out where it's going, and then quickly do it.
I remember playing Tetris so much where I actually got carpet tunnel in my hand. I was just so intense, so ingrained into it. I just couldn't. It's not that I couldn't stop, but I just wanted to, get the high score.
It's still a good game. It's one of those things. I guess that's the thing about certain things, like certain games. That, Tetris is still good. Rubik's cubes, people still play with those.
Yeah, well, there's some games that are just literally timeless. Even Bomberman. I think they tried to reboot it a couple of times, but the still classic Bomberman is a game everyone kind of. I'm not sure if new generations would, but
it's getting old.
Yeah. But no, because there was also Tetris effects. I remember, people around that era go, "Oh, video games are bad for people. You should."
Well, it was a concern as us as parents too.
Yeah.
It was a classic. If you look, every generation's had it. If you go back, people would say back in the 50s or back in the 40s, people were saying comic books were bad for kids. They shouldn't be reading comics. And then TV came, and the eyes will go square. They're watching too much television, and so every generation's had something.
And something I think even before that, I think when written books were even a thing, is children shouldn't be reading books. It's polluting their brain. It's
you go back in the Dark Ages, and you weren't allowed to read or write in Latin. It was in Latin, and it was against the law to teach people to read or write because, especially in Latin. I can't remember the exact thing, but I know that was kept, because it could corrupt you. So. Video games, I don't, they've come into the industry now.
Yeah, I still feel like some people use it as a good excuse, as in, this video game's making people violent and stuff, which...
It's the nature-nurture argument, and generally you'll find that people who gravitate towards violence may play video games, but, they also might hurt animals, and there's a whole lot of things. It's not the game. It's
not the game. It's
you gravitate.
They're a violent person. They gravitate towards violent games. It's I remember Mum and our sisters playing Sims. Sims is not a violent video game. I do think there's violent aspects in it.
People burn their Sims to death.
Yeah.
Or drown them.
But there are games out there that isn't it's not a violent video game. It doesn't make you disassociate.
That's true.
Yeah,
you're right. There's lots, and also that puzzle game. That was really good. I can't remember what it was called now. But there's a lot of those sort of games where you're right. They're not necessarily involving shooting things. But also, I'll just like to point out. I've seen what the world's like and violence. And I don't associate it at all with playing a video game. It's not. I have no association. Now I have complex post-traumatic stress from it, but playing a video game doesn't trigger me. It's so different. It's not the same.
Well, here's the thing. And I say this probably too much, it might lose effect. But video games is a form of art.
Yeah.
And art can give you something to think about, or there are shit paintings out there.
I was thinking the same thing.
That it's hey, I made this piece of art. It's no, you just threw a bunch of shit on a wall and tried to charge me $60 for it.
Yeah, it depends what you call art.
Yeah, but then it comes down to the beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Oh, that's another philosophical.
Well, yeah, but the point is,
I know that some people will go about movies or things and go, "Oh God, that was shit. I hate that." And I go, What? I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So it depends on your perspective, and I think where you're looking at things from, and your age and time of life.
I think also video games, because they are so open-ended, well, not all of them, but there are a big variety of games that you can have, one type of game like The Sims and play it like 25 different times. So you'll have people who, I really like murdering all my husbands in The Sims, and then you're like, I just like the idea of growing a family, or like making money or building houses.
Well, that's why I like Sim City. I remember, and I also like, was it Age of Empires? It was a building.
Yeah.
Well, that was a bit violent.
I think my sister, your daughter. I'm like,
which one?
How do I say name? The older sister.
Richard.
Well, actually, yeah, but both of them, I think, wanted Age of Empires because that's a game we played.
Yeah.
I remember going on like having it all set up on islands, and I'm like, all right, I'll just, conquer this island, get all the tech tree, and then just slowly take over the world. And it's just
it was good. It was a good game, and I enjoyed that. And no one I know has become psychopathic, murdered, taken over the world.
There are here's another thing, right? PvP video games. Some people get too fucking invested.
Fortnite is...
Probably Fortnite. I'm more thinking, I've heard stories, don't quote me on this, of people getting angry in Call of Duty and then finding someone's house and actually being violent there.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I've heard rumours of it before. I'm not sure how true it is.
It'll be an ongoing thing. It's been it's off the top of my head, the correlation between video games and violent behaviour is not established correlation. What it seems to be, I think, is if you have that issue, if you have that nature, you might play that sort of game.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like psychopathic people, the indication that you start hurting animals, that sort of thing. It's not, people who hurt animals aren't psychopathic, but it can...
Yeah, there's cross...
so anyway, it's not the game that makes you that way, it's that way anyway. But that's only, as you said, violent games. I don't think Starfield can have.
Yeah, I know. We'll get to that. I want to work our way up.
Oh, we're building to it.
Because I'm trying to think of the violent games I play, and I think the worst one. But usually the games I enjoy are the puzzle games, the games that make me think. Because you say you play as a form of escapism and stuff.
Yeah.
I like as a form of self-improvement. I think there's a lot of moments in my life where video games have gave me the tools to teach myself certain social interactions or certain organization skills and all this thing, which is why I tend to get pretty defensive when people are like, oh no, video games are bad. It's like, well, no, you just think that, but video games can teach a lot as well.
I think you'll find now that as your generation is now heading into their sort of 30s and adults and got families of their own, that idea from people of my generation is I think video game is sort of now they're in what's going to happen. So I'm segueing out. When you're in your 80s, and I'm hoping if I ever go to a nursing home that they'll have PlayStation, they'll have consoles. At the moment they play marching band music and have piano days, but I would imagine that in the next 20 years you'd find people going to nursing homes and would have VR helmets.
VR will be more and more.
And because that's you don't just turn 80 and suddenly like pipe band music.
Yeah.
It's just because you grew up in that era.
Yeah.
So it's I think
it is becoming more mainstream.
Oh, very, yeah. Oh, well, it's bigger than the movie industry now.
Yes. And okay, now we can delve into it.
Is that the segue?
Well, because video games are for profit now.
Yes.
There was a point in time where the profit was a nice side effect of people's creativity.
Yeah.
and then there's people that saw the profits like, I want to make that bigger, and then it's like drains that creativity.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? So that's the art for like
Yeah.
finance, or if you if you have and I guess if you're going back even back in the Renaissance type period, or even artists had a benefactor
Yeah.
who would pay them, and they could do what they like, and that produced art. So it wasn't for the financial reward. And the video games are a financial powerhouse now. Like they generate billions and billions of dollars. So they're a business, and the artistry may be.
Well, I think what they...
I don't know.
Because the people that are in control of, so I'm thinking of people in control of EA, Activision, probably Ubisoft, like those type of companies are, we need to make profit, because we are a company to make profit. We use that, we use the video games to make that profit, but because they are very, those type of people are controlled by spreadsheets and profit margins. They
shareholders,
and they see, video games not as a form of art, but as like, we need to construct this, building made of blocks to, get money from by people buying. And I think this kind of breaks down a lot of video games, which is why you get like, EA releasing Call of Duty, or actually I think worst is like FIFA, where it's like, we release a FIFA every year because it gets us money. We're not putting any creativity in it, we just do it because it's the pattern.
And Call of Duty do, and they just keep ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Yeah.
I noticed even in games like I was playing Dead Space 3, which is a pretty old game now.
Hell.
I don't know, it came out on the Xbox 360, so I don't know, it's old anyway.
Yeah.
But there was still you could still do in-game purchases if you wanted to buy, a better set of armor, or you wanted to buy a different skin or something. You could starting, which annoys me. I don't do it
because the first Dead Space didn't have that, did it? No. And I think this is where, because they've done this weird thing. I don't know exactly the history of it or what caused it or whatever, but it's like video games $60, which I don't agree with, because like when you're spending more money to make a game, you're hiring more people to make a game. Yeah. You have bigger budgets, better graphics, everything, and you still charge the same amount. Like something has to give. But because they seem to back themselves in the corner of like, well, video games are $60, we need to get profit somewhere elsewhere.
So, in-game purchases.
And they've started doing that, which I do see like benefits from it at points, but like you don't see, buying skins doesn't make the next video game any better.
No, but there's also the add-ons, and I know I had with what was the other game I was playing? Borderlands, the last Borderlands game.
Yeah.
Had heaps. You're pushed and pushed. But had add-ons.
Because like I remember a time where video games came out, the entire game was on the disc.
Yeah.
Put it in, you played it, that was it. Like if you finish what was on the disc, there's no more, there's nothing else. I think now that online consoles are now have to be connected online to like be properly working, it's like, well, now we can try and get more from it. I don't mind the idea of like add-ons or DLCs. It is
DLCs, I think.
Because, well, here's the thing. Sometimes, so I know why people get annoyed by this. Sometimes it feels like they have a full game, but because they want more money, they will go, okay, let's chop the game, have that $60, and then have the DLC 15, and then another 15, and it's like that's the full game because they chop it up to try and milk as much money.
I haven't always, like, I know with Fallout 4, I had all the DLC content on that. I
Yeah.
actually played all the extra bits, and I think they're quite good.
I think I did the same as well, because like I also remember modding Fallout 4, but like, because like DLCs can be good, because if it's the base game and then it's like, okay, we finished the game, it's bug free, it's what we wanted for the game.
Yeah,
that's good. But now, we've learnt this. Players like this type of thing. I think of this story.
And I think developers might have wanted to go a particular direction and they can't in the game, and they go, well, they wanted to experiment with a certain thing.
Yeah, I think
until
it's experimental, because like sometimes, because I'm trying to think, because the latest Borderlands, the Wonderland one, what was that?
Oh yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Yeah, that's a standalone game.
Yeah.
But that's based off the DLC from Borderlands.
Yeah.
Three.
No, 2.
2, yeah,
2.
I was gonna say.
No, 2, because Tiny Tina in 3 is grown up, so it's based off her as a child.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a.
But that's what DLC should be. Like, it's this. Okay, we finished the game. We've got dead time for our developers while we think of the next game to work on. Let's, experiment. Let's see what we can do. And exactly, you have good stuff through that.
Yeah.
I think it's a very fine slope, and I don't think big corporate companies are very good at they're not good at noticing art as it
generally, I mean, they can support it, but no, not for the sake of it.
Yeah, it's like those the movies where it's like, oh, this movie would be good, but executives like, okay, we need to make sure we have a fight scene in like 15 minutes.
I think it happens in music too.
Yeah,
it happens a lot in music, where a lot of musicians who are new in the business lose creative direction. They end up not having what they want. I mean, I just heard Kate Soprano talking about this, how in her first one of the albums she did overseas, she was really concerned because it wasn't what she was going, what she wanted, because she doesn't have that power until you get famous, and then you've got control.
Well, I think Taylor Swift had a similar situation where her early stuff, it's like the record label just owns it. She doesn't have creative freedom, which is why she like re-released it. She basically did like a reboot of her own music in order to like, hey, this is actually me. This is not someone controlling my strings.
Yeah.
But that's. I think we're in a good spot now. We're in an interesting spot now where. So let's go into Fallout 76.
Or should we?
I think we should.
I might cry.
This explains, like, I think, and because you can't talk about Starfield without bringing up 76, which is a fucking shame. But like,
yeah.
Have you played it? What do you think?
I have dabbled in it.
What do you think of it? What do you?
I didn't like it. I simply didn't like it because I'm not fond of playing with other people.
Yeah.
Which is that's just me. It doesn't matter. But it promised what it promised and what it delivered were very different.
Yeah.
And that's a bit disappointing me, because you go in thinking about this, and there was a big lead up, because I played Fallout to death. Like I played that game. Played every faction in it, and then some. So
you played Fallout 5? Because they came out before 76.
No, it was Fallout 4. There's no Fallout 5.
Isn't it Fallout? What's Fallout 3? That's the one.
Fallout 3 is New Vegas or something.
No, New Vegas is standalone.
Oh, that's right. Fallout 4 is the one. Is the last.
It is the one where it's like you're a couple that you pick between, and you start in the frozen cryopod.
You go underground. You're in a house. You're in a town, and then the alarm goes off. And then you run underground, and you're sealed, and then you come out. You get the dog.
Alright, I lost track a little bit.
Yeah. So so you play that, and I played that through, and it was so good. It was so brilliant, and there's so many hidden things and hidden gems in it that it was really good. And then you go 76. I can't wait for something else. And then you get the hints of 76, and they just kept hinting at it, and small glimpses, and you thought, I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and like you have no reason not to, because it's like Fallout 3 was good. I probably enjoyed Fallout 3 more than Fallout 4, but I think that's I had modded and like DLC and all that stuff.
But Fallout, I like I think
I do actually remember. I do enjoy Fallout 4 as well, but I remember 76. It's like, okay, this is the worst part. It's Todd Howard, so like the director of Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3, Fallout 4. It's like he's like, this is like one of our most ambitious, and like you guys will love this game, and it's like, if the person who made the games that we love, so we'll love this other game.
Yeah.
Why would you question that?
Yeah, no, I know. You assumed it was going to be. I mean, I had a few reservations. I didn't like the co-op idea, but.
It seemed odd, but like, they made good games, and it's like, we put effort into this game. I'm like, well, if they put effort into it, they can't I understand the idea of it. Like, I can go, you know what, it would be fun to build a base with Pyro, like playing Fallout 76 together. Like, we could build a little commune together.
Yeah, I could done. Yeah.
But
it didn't even work like that, which is and I guess the biggest problem is in Fallout 76 is I felt what they were showing me and what they advertised and talked about was very different to the game that it was.
Yeah.
And that's why I was disappointed in it. And I think many people had a similar experience, bought it and wanted to play it.
I know Pyro was actually excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he had time off for it, I think. But because it should have been a good game.
Well, yeah. And,
I know why it wasn't. It's because they had some a off branch of Bethesda Studio, just okay, take Fallout 4, make it multiplayer, chuck in a bunch of microtransactions. And it's it's always been a single player game. They try to take a single player engine, make it work for multiplayer, which is why you have all the bugs, and then it's and here's the most aggravating part. It's they didn't actually release it for a good game for people to play. They released it as in, hey, free to play, or not free to play models, sorry, games as a service is constant profits. We want constant profit. Let's take a game that people like, add, make it a live service game so we can milk our fan base for profits.
That's not probably moral.
No, and I don't think it's also good for the game as a whole. And that comes down to, they're releasing Starfield now. This is the first game they released since Fallout 76.
It's been in development though before 76.
True, but
I know.
76 came out,
and now
it's Starfield, and it's
you're burnt, and you go, hang on.
Well, because I watched the 45-minute thing. It's Todd Howard, this is our most ambitious game before. I'm these words sound awfully fucking familiar.
Yeah, you lied to us. I trust you this time. I mean, the thing about that video, and again, you still question it, is all the passion from all the people, the different developers talking about the different aspects of the game, and it's are they selling it to me?
Or is this actually, because they had the same thing with 76. It's we think you guys will really enjoy, I remember, we're interviewing all the devs, this part's really good, it's really fun and stuff, and it's exactly what the Starfield thing's and it's
I get a feeling though, from watching watching how I think Starfield will work. You know, how you can develop your own airship any
It's
way
single
you like.
player.
Yeah, it's single player.
I think that's a pretty good indication, but I don't think Bethesda's made a good multiplayer game ever.
So that's a good start.
It's a good start.
So
A good foundation.
The beginning is, you know, it looked like you just pick your character, like you fiddle around with your character like you have before, which is fine. You know, you do that in all sorts of games, but this is why I think it might be okay. And then, you know, you start exploring and building like a world. I'm hoping was like in the other games, so your Skyrims and your Fallout games, where it's open map and you can find interesting and play a game, and you can choose to either build things or you can shoot things, and that's what I would like to see, and that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
but
got to be careful about what these games look like.
It's probably an ad.
It is an ad,
and so therefore, yeah. After 76,
it's going to be an ad until, you know, you hear people who aren't paid to be a part of it.
Yeah.
People who pay to get into it will.
I think I think the fact too that it's been, the idea has been in development for so long that there is a fair bit of passion for it. I'm hoping that it's gonna, you know, that transgresses through to the game itself, because I don't want to be excited by it coming out because last time I was pissed off. You can't have your hopes up. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'll hang on. September, I can wait.
Yeah, because I also do think they are passionate about this game. I think this is what Todd Howard wanted to make. You know, like this is the type of game they would enjoy playing. I can't see Bethesda developers sitting down playing Fallout 76.
No.
No.
I don't think they did.
Yeah. Which is a clear indication of what the game is. I do feel like
they're too busy trying to develop this game, I'm hoping.
Well, yeah.
It's like, oh, we'll just do this in the meantime.
Because, also Bethesda, because Skyrim became, so Oblivion was a good game. It's got memes and stuff. I don't think I finished it. I remember playing it. Have you played it?
No, I don't think I played it.
I played it twice. Once I played it, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I think it was shortly after I discovered. No, I think it was before Skyrim release. I'm like, give it a go. I'm like, oh, I don't understand this. Actually, no, I do think it was after Skyrim, because I'm like, oh, Skyrim was good. I'll play this, and it's like, oh, the controls are weird and everything. Okay. Every time I talk, it zooms in. I'm like, why the fuck are you in my face?
Yeah.
Once I played enough of Skyrim, and I fell in love with the story and the lore and you know the actual world that they were able to build, and I think Bethesda does this really well, where they actually can build believable worlds. It's not the worlds around you; it's the world is there, and you as a player has been placed in it. And
that's what I like.
That does a few things. It makes it really easy to explore because there's something to explore. It's not like, oh, we're generating stuff as you come in. Yeah, you can choose to go and climb a mountain and do something weird, and then suddenly you find something, which is what oh shit, this is what the hell have I got here, Yeah, and it just you get lost into it, and you get immersed into it.
Yeah, that's right, and that's what I like, and that's as I said before, it's an escapism, and fingers crossed and toes. It looks good though.
I'm pretty sure it will be good. All honesty, I probably sound overly skeptical than what I really am. I'm pretty sure it'll be a good game.
I'm pretty sure it will too, but I'm reserving my judgment till I've got it.
Yeah, exactly. I can't. It's not safe to go. Okay.
It looks good too. I like the fact that it looks interesting. It looks.
There is
different planets, and getting to the planets is issues in itself, and you've got the transaction. You've got to play. There's a lot of things you can do, and I like it. I like the way you've got to play it. And so anyway, we'll see, I guess. But I'm hopeful.
I am too. There are moments because Skyrim came out, right, and it was a really good game. Everyone enjoyed it, but then like the game is really old now. How old is Skyrim? Like came out in 2011. It did.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's over a decade old, and that won't cut it again. Like another Skyrim, like what it was like, it was fun at the time. It was fun when I was a teenager, kid, 20 something, who knows. But like it's dated now. It still looks good.
Oh, I'd still play. Like I still think it's a. If you picked it up, I still think people would enjoy it. Like
yeah,
it's still
but
good.
if that game released again.
No, well, that's right. It wouldn't. It is dated, but that's like buying the difference between buying a 20-year-old car and buying a new car. Like you see the difference. They both work and they're both fun to drive, but one's better than the other because it's got all the flasher bits on it. So it's the same sort of thing with games. I think I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, no. It was time. It was perfect time for it when it was released, and it was so well done.
Yeah.
And
it inspired imagination too.
It did.
Which is, I think, when you have a good game. I feel like Starfield can be the next Skyrim.
Well, that's what I think they're hoping for.
Yeah, there are a few things because, like, I've heard. I haven't read all the documents for the game yet.
I haven't read any.
I heard that some of the storylines and that are not pre-generated, but like constructed. What's that? Generated? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't know what you're saying.
So, like, some of the stories, it's like won't be the same for everyone. So unlike Skyrim or Fallout, it's like, I'll go to this place on the map and there's like this weird building with this weird story, or because there was a YouTube channel I found. Can't remember what it's called, something Apple. But it basically is brilliant what it does. I think they did mainly Fallout, some of Skyrim, but they would go to like a Fallout dungeon.
Yeah.
So like one of those ruined towers or something.
Yeah.
And like if you played the game, you'll just run through, kill the monsters, collect your loot, and then run off. But he will go through and say, "Well, there's a skeleton here, and there's this teddy bear over there," and it like shows this environmental storytelling.
Oh yeah.
So it's like if you take the time and look, you can like see a story that isn't directly being told to you.
That's a very modern way of telling stories too now.
It's also good because it like, I think it's a little less effort than, well, first of all, I think it's better than just like, hey, this happened and this happened and this happened. It's like, here is everything. And you're like, oh, what happened over there? And since you asked the question, you go into...
You're different. I mean, Adventure Time, not a video game, but like Adventure Time did a lot of that storytelling. Yeah. There was a story, but if you watch them and look at what's happening and you look at the character, or you think who the characters are, and there's a lot of hints as to a bigger picture and a bigger universe.
It's not focused on the bigger universe.
No.
I think this is why, those games and stories do really well, and it makes you feel really immersive because it's not focused on that bigger universe. It is there, and you can easily find it.
Yeah.
But you're focused on your own little story, and that's still happening around in the background.
What you were talking about it the other day? Not liminal horror. What's it called?
Cosmic horror.
Cosmic horror.
Yeah.
Very clever way of telling stories. Very good, because there's a new one out. There's been new ones coming out all the time. So the actual 1990s or 1980s video cassette type screens telling totally random, looking like an industrial thing. But you get tiny bits of information about it, and and you end up having this. And they've even got video games. I know with one of them called Gemini Home Entertainment. If you go through the links on YouTube, the videos and things, and it just leads you up this path.
Oh, you talking about like ARG games?
I don't know. But there's a game at the end, there's a part of it is a game you play, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's also got part of the story, it gives you part of the story in the game. So it leads you off these things, but you end up developing this story you think.
It's this big world, and you won't have all the the world doesn't have the answers. It's there for you to discover, and that really drags you into the I'm in this world instead of I'm sitting here on a couch playing a game.
And that's why it makes it scarier too in those things, because it becomes immersive in it. You actually go, oh shit, you feel like you're there. So that's why I find them. It's
why playing or at least those immersive games in the dark is so much better, because then you don't see this stuff around you. It's you just see the screen, and that is actually. You're looking through a window into this world. You're not seeing what's actually around you.
Yeah.
Something a point I want to bring up, because we are talking about AAA games and stuff. Do you think they're getting too big to make good games?
Oh, it's an interesting question, isn't it? So the simple answer is no, because I don't think the size of the company. So I think you can make a good game.
Yeah,
right? A big company, big profit company can make a good game. The problem I think comes from those running the company and who it is. So if you've got visionary people who aren't terribly focused on the business of it, if you've got business leaders that say, a bit like I was saying earlier, where you have they're like Patreons. They'll manage the business and we'll make money. You guys do what you do best. It's when these guys who are
try and tell them how to do.
Say, listen, you guys need to.
Multiplayer does best.
Yeah. You need to put more transactions. You need to make more money out of this game. So so a big company with the right people, I think, can do brilliant work.
I thought that about CG Project Red, the maker of the Witcher series.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. I like the Witcher. That was good.
Yeah, but also they did Cyberpunk. It was a bit of a mess on release, and I remember people going, "Look, they've made good games, and their company seems to want to focus on making good games." I do think there gets to a point where a company has to be enough vision, more we are a company, and unfairly or fairly, but they have to make money to pay for everyone. I guarantee CEOs of some of those companies are not worth it.
Oh, well, no,
I'm pretty sure the CEO of Activision's paid way too much for whatever the fuck he does.
I've got no idea how corporate wages work.
I think it's basically like politics, but for inside a business. They don't care about the foot level stuff. They just care about the positions.
They'll do the job for half the price.
Yeah.
So it is you see that filter through to lots of things too.
Yeah.
Where people get depending on the industry, but industry or business takes over, and the people get lost, or their goal or vision. So they lose being a good corporate citizen. That's a very important thing.
Because I feel like if some of the Activision CEO, instead of pushing out shitty games, half his own salary and give it to the coders and makers of the game, you'll get better profit back. But I don't think they have that type of understanding and vision.
Well, maybe they don't.
There might be some people out there. I sometimes think of this from Ubisoft, because they were really hesitant of being bought by Tencent, which is a Chinese company. I think they ended up selling their stocks to France stuff. This is back when I did GP Noob. I don't know what's happened now.
Yeah, right.
But also, this is where I think we have a bit of a shift happening, because online is so easily accessible these days.
Yeah.
Back when Doom came out, it's if you played Doom, you had to know Doom existed. How did you know Doom was around?
How did I know?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. How did I know? Well, I used to buy. I don't know, to be honest, but I had bought. I mean, you'd buy PC magazines. There used to be a thing called magazines.
So, shout out to Pyro before he goes back to work. All right, magazines.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I thought I'd slide that in. I don't like interrupting train of thoughts, but
yeah, it's one that hadn't formed fully yet. So I actually, how did I know? It must have been word of mouth. It must have been either word of mouth or maybe a computer magazine or something.
Because I think we're in a.
I think sometimes magazines used to come with little demos.
Yeah, I remember that.
Heaps of demos, yeah.
Yeah. I rember playing
So
a
it
lot of
might
demos.
have been that. I was quite into computers then.
Well, that's where I think I picked it up from, because I was surrounded by it from a young age.
Yeah.
So, but I think we're in a interesting position where making games like with Unity, Unreal Engine, whatever game like RPG develop kit or whatever, are so easy for people to make games now. But also the fact, because internet is a thing where anyone can like share their thoughts or opinions.
Unfortunately,
I was going to say, because I feel like there's a lot of indie games out there, like a studio of like 10 people, which is minuscule compared to like the giant video game makers, but they are still able to make video games on par, if not better, sometimes worse.
Yeah, that's an interesting part. Like you're saying, can big companies make good games? So can a small
company
certainly can?
Yeah.
Whereas the others could if they wish, but I think small companies, because I believe that people, you've got a group of 10 people have a belief, like, they really want to do it properly and do it well, or have an idea they want to get across really well.
Yeah.
And that's why some indie games are
better, because you actually have the passion there without the corporate drive of we need to think about profits.
Yeah, and maybe done for its own sake, which,
Yeah, like...
Let's hope we make money, but, it's not why they're there. So the driving force is perhaps more...
Yeah, because, like, they're releasing Starfield, hopefully finished, which is, like, one of the issues AAAs have issues with, of, like, we need the profit now, let's release and fix it later. Fucking, what was it? Anthem? What studio did Anthem? Oh, I can't remember. It was a good studio. They made good games before, but they just kind of like lost their way. It's like, okay, we made a game, now we need to make another game, and now we need to make another game. And now they get stuck in this loop of like not actually knowing how to make good games. They just know how to release a product.
Just cookie cutter.
Yeah, and I think indie games are they should be more commonly promoted too, because there's a lot of indie games out there that will do better than AAAs because they are a smaller team with actual inspiration behind it, not just we need to push this out for profit. Like Five Nights at Freddy's was just Stardew Valley was like made by a single person. Like all these indie games out there. Fuck, Minecraft was an indie game.
It was too.
Yeah.
I remember when it came out.
Yeah, and now it's like, bought by, Microsoft buys everything. That's another fish for another day. But like these indie games can make good content. There's
I forgot about Minecraft. That's a game I played the crap out of too.
Yeah, fuck's sake. It's half my stream is Minecraft, the other half is Victoria. Victoria is an indie game as well. Like some of the best games out there. Yeah. The games that you want to play that are actually enjoyable. You're not just playing because it's the brand new latest graphics.
I know I'm getting slightly off the thing here with the indie games, but I forgot all about Minecraft, because talk about open world maps and discovering things, that does it. I love that. Like it's you know, that's just so random. Like the things I like adventuring in it. Like you just go off and find find a railway line underground. Like, you know, it's just open, so open, and you can make anything you want. Like it's just feels like truly open world. So there's no story to play.
So it's not open world. It's sandbox.
Sandbox, yeah.
Open world's similar but different.
I know. Yeah.
Skyrim would be considered open world. Zelda.
The sandbox, you can change your environment.
Yeah, sandbox is you make the stories, you make the content of the game,
and that was brilliant. So yeah, I thought and certainly going back to an indie game. There you go. What a wondrous thing that is.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities for you know, those small games, and especially in this environment where AAA's, it's like you don't just buy them anymore.
No.
Like a AAA game comes out, it's like, okay, I'll buy that. That's like, you know, I'm gonna get my grandkid the latest Call of Duty or something. You shouldn't do that anymore because you have no guarantee that it's an actual finished game and it's not just being pushed out, as opposed to these indie games where they will generally be finished.
And accessing them is an interesting aspect too, like because they're not marketed as you see these big AAA companies. They don't have the same desire. Like it's not marketed in the same way. You don't have that. You don't have. I saw Zelda on a billboard the other day.
I'm not surprised.
You know, you don't see a lot of they can't afford to.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of you know, game studios that, you know, actually do well, I do think Nintendo's pretty good. I don't know how. I do think they have flops, but I think like generally each section of Nintendo actually knows how to make a good game, and I think higher ups.
I think they know what they are. I think Nintendo have in their games have an idea.
It's not that they know what they are, but I think the people in control of the company know what they are. They are a video game company.
Yeah.
Fuck was it? I think I remember a story about a stockholder of Activision or something complaining about, why are you talking about video games? I want to know how you're going to make profit. It's like, that is their profit.
Yeah, and this is why we're talking about them.
Yeah, it's something that needs to be focused on. I think Nintendo is really good at understanding that the games are meant to be made for fun.
Yeah.
I really like Hideo Koshima's...
Yeah.
Like... And this is kind of like going a little off topic into Japanese culture.
Yeah.
Where a corporate is a family type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where I think that's why Nintendo's able to do well, but Hideo Kojima is a really creative person.
He's artistic in it.
Yeah, and video games, like we're saying, is an art. And they're like, no, don't have your art like this. Have this, have those colours, have this and this. And that's going to be stifling. And because of this current environment, this wouldn't happen like in the early days of the internet where he would leave and then make his own game and be successful because no one would know who he is because it was the company that did it, not the individual. And I think, and this is something I think we need to focus on more too. Instead of like, you know, EA's releasing another COD, it's like, the developer of these games are making a new game type of thing. And I think what indie does really well is like bring to the forefront actual game designers that are there to make good games. And
it's the same. It's cutting the fat out of things, and you see it in music. You see it in other forms of art.
Yeah, music these days, it's not like, if you want to be big, you have to have a record label.
Yeah,
you have to, you know, sell your music to a company that will basically own you and your music to.
And they just hold you to ransom for it. You know, for the rest of your life. And
but now you can like upload stuff to YouTube, and if it's good, people will pick up on
it. And that you see that, and the same with the indie games. I think they have that great opportunity to develop really artistic and really interesting.
There's a game.
Aspects.
I think you need to play. It's an indie game. Outer Wilds. You may have heard of it. Hopefully it's on Xbox Game Pass, because you're close to finishing Dead Space 3.
I finished it already.
You finished already?
Yes.
Congratulations.
You saw me in the throes
the last bit, yeah.
of killing 45,000 necromorphs.
Because, like, I think that type of game, and from what I've heard from this, is you can only play it the first time once. And it's like this with every video game. I could only play Victoria for the first time once.
Oh, yeah.
The first time I played Minecraft, I remember not knowing how to make a fucking stone pickaxe.
I know. No, it's the same.
I didn't understand what the fuck I was doing. But I have fond memories of that. The problem I have with Minecraft is, like, now I know so fucking much about the game.
Oh, yeah.
I either need mods or I need a bigger challenge of, like, I need to build, like, a more complicated machine or, like, you know, bigger buildings and stuff to, like, capture what I remember. And I think now that indie games are kicking off, you can have more of those experiences as opposed to those AAA games that's not a safe bet. We don't want to release something new.
Yeah, you're talking about one where the code's tied up and you get what you're given. You mean these AAA games you get? They're not open source code. You can't.
Well,
change
it's not even that. It's like if you get a Call of Duty game, like I say Call of Duty because all of them. What's the difference? You can label, this has this character, this has this mechanic, but it's like a safe bet across each form.
They're the same. Yeah.
Like even Starfield is Skyrim, Fallout in space.
Yeah.
It's a safe bet, which is why they probably got the funding and time to do it. Indie games don't have to rely on that safe bet, where you can get true creativity, which is why Outer Wilds I will recommend.
I'll have a look.
Pretty sure it's a console game, I think.
Outer Wilds. It does. Maybe I might stumble across it somewhere. I'll have a look. But I don't. No, yeah, I'll have a look.
All right.
Because seeing as I finished Dead Space, I might go back to Atomic Heart. But
yeah, that looks good.
It does look good, but the boss fight was giving me the shits, and I gave up.
Like I was saying before, because there was Kingdom Hearts. Do you know how much I played of that?
Yeah.
Played a lot of that when I was a kid. I bought Kingdom Hearts 2 because I'm like, this is a weird looking game. It's got Disney characters on the front of it. And I played it, I'm like, this is a second game. Let me get the first game. And I played a bit of the first game, got stuck on a boss fight. I'm like, I can't do this. Finished Kingdom Hearts 2, went back, and that boss fight was piss ass easy. I'm like, I quit this game because of this boss fight. I bet on the first go with like being distracted by something else. So but yeah, you get better at those things. I find that's the experience I have. Like if I get stuck or struggle with something, I go somewhere else, play something else.
Normally I'm exceedingly dogged. Normally I will persist for hours until I've done it. Like I will die, thousands and thousands of deaths. Like But at this one, I because the other thing I do sometimes in games, I know we're getting a bit off the topic, is that I try and find sneak glitches in it, like sneaky bits that I can.
Do you want to play Zelda?
Do I want to play Zelda? No, I've never really thought about it. Maybe. With this game, I tried to. Hide and tried to get to a spot where I could just easily do it.
Yeah.
Pick the person off, but it's tied up pretty well. I haven't been able to do that, so I have to go back and try it.
Because I think a good game designer can design around that. Like if you find your players trying to work your way around something, you don't want to like flat out ban them, but you kind of want to like
make them work for it.
Kind of, but you also want them to be rewarded for their creativity or their like if you're trying to do something sneaky or something.
Yeah.
And the reason why I brought up Zelda, the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, it gives you like a bunch of like equipment you can do to like cheese certain things, and you don't feel like it feels a little bit like cheesy, but it's like the developer there put it there, taught you how to use it,
so you can do this.
Yeah, so like if you like cheese a shrine or something, it's not like oh, they didn't want you to do that, because if that's really the case, they wouldn't let you do that.
Yeah.
At least with good game design.
Yeah. Well, this I've tried doing some tricky things where I've got boxes and made built little walls and and none of it worked, I think. But yeah.
So let's start winding down the conversation. So if chat has anything they want to say, let us know. Pyro did say you learnt the news from stone tablets, which is a little rude.
What, you or me? Yeah,
you. Mostly Dad. You're mostly Dad.
I am. Cheeky shit.
Long stick for the win. Well, yeah, see, like, that's a Zelda thing. Like, you can make stuff to cheat puzzles, and I like the idea of that. I think
I
that's
like that too.
Clever design.
I like using my now. So I do like shooting things and blowing things up, but you know, sometimes if it's hard, I'd rather.
I used to listen to a podcast. I think I caught up. There's like YouTube videos for like game design stuff, and I feel like executives need to like watch these things. I feel like they don't understand how good game design can do well in certain situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't hear anything. I don't have my headset on, Ash. I added an audio that does a Factorio alert that they can redeem, and it's like something being broken, so I half panic if I'm paying Factorio.
Okay. So you're gonna go fix it?
Well, no, because it's not real.
Alright, so
anything else you want to add? At the end of the day,
I'm looking
Starfield. Well, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm patiently waiting for it to be good. Because, like, here's the other thing.
Yeah, I'm the same.
These days, if a modern AAA game isn't delayed at all, kind of suspicious. There's like.
That's interesting. But with this, as I said, they've been working on this for so bloody long.
Well, yeah, but like, there's a lot of games they work on.
I know.
Duke Nukem.
Oh, how good was that?
There was.
Oh, not the new one.
I think the new one. I don't know.
No, they did a reboot. No, that was terrible.
Because there was a Duke Nukem I remember hearing about. Yeah, I think the original was good. This is like one of the follow-ups.
Yeah, no.
Where they started working on it. They took so long. They went from like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 to like PlayStation 3, and then it's like they just
hardware advanced on them.
Yeah, they like just try to like do the best that they can. But, I think this again comes down to indie games are better because they will have a fast throughput. Big companies take a while to push through.
Well, they do such large. Like you've got teams working on one animal.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So hopefully it's good.
Well, fingers crossed. Let's have a look.
I'm not going to assume it's good, but it's not a safe thing to do anymore with any AAA game. I think Nintendo games for the most part, but I have heard the last Pokemon game was.
It's going to be. It could be a good Christmas game. If it's in September, it'll be that time. But by the time December comes around, people would have gone, yeah, okay, it's good.
Yeah, and here's the thing though: if it's like a fucking Cyberpunk or something, where it comes out and it's a buggy mess, or it feels hollow and empty,
that's gonna really hurt them.
Yeah,
that will really hurt them.
Rightly so.
Yeah, because I would then go. They'd be back into the box with,
Yeah, you like the next game you see they're going. Oh, we're working on Fallout 5 now, and it's like, well, no, Elder Scrolls 6 I think was something they announced, because after 76 it's like, we need to announce something that isn't shit.
Yeah.
Let's just say, hey, we're working on. Look, they didn't actually do anything. I think they just showed Elder Scrolls in 6.
Tried to divert.
Yeah, which is never a good sign when a company's trying to divert you away from a game.
Let's wait and see.
Yeah,
in a few months.
Because if Starfield's shit, I don't think anyone will expect anything good from Elder Scrolls 6, which is a shame.
Wailing in the streets, no, you wouldn't. Yeah. You'd be exceedingly sceptical of anything coming out of their studios.
Yeah. Alright,
All good.
Thanks for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm going to
Thanks
go
for
now
that.
and have a look, see what my next game is.
Yeah. There's so many, you can't play them all, which I get disappointed about, but I've played 3,000 hours in Victoria, so I don't have anyone else to blame but myself. But
I just like a game where I can
sit down, tune off, and
be reasonable at. I hate it if you keep dying all the time, but
I'm mostly noob. There's not a game I'm particularly good at.
I normally get better as the game goes on.
Also, like, Pyro is the skilled gamer.
Yeah,
I'm the intellectual gamer. If there's puzzle games, I'm generally better at that. If there's something where I actually need to do something in good succession, I generally can't do. But yeah.
Well, I'll take my game, my stick and rock, and go home.
All right. Thanks, Dad.
Cheers, mostly noob. Cheers, everybody. I'll see you a bit later.
See ya, chat.
Here we go.
Yeah, see you next Thursday.
Done. Where we will discuss, I don't know, metaphysics of...
So religion's been one of the things I've been thinking about, as well as, and I know this is something we have discussions about, of happiness.
Happiness.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is, what makes one happy, or what can do one
What is
make
happiness?
happy? Yeah. Which I know we sometimes disagree on, but
It's interesting.
I prefer those discussions, to be honest. You get more from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, until next Thursday.
Yep. Cool beans.
Alright.
I'm off like a piece of cheese in the sun.
See you, Cheesy.
See you
And
later. See you,
I'm
dude.
going to end stream on good podcast with Mostly Dad. Thanks, Ash. AI Jesus. You did mention something about that. I did see that. That's just like a Twitch thing where he answers chat. Something. Alright. I'm gonna end stream. Oh, actually, I'm gonna raid off. I feel like I should raid off to someone. And then I might go live a little later tonight. Oh, fuck, it is getting late. Maybe not. Don't quote me on that, but we'll see. Maybe even Minecraft. Who knows? Oop. Is there anyone even to raid? I have no idea who they are. Let me check my list first. Or maybe we can like raid someone in just talking. Since we were just talking. Oh, I've already followed them. Nope, my tablet's having a go. Yeah, I think I've raided them before. Yeah, they've been here. Sounds familiar. Let me just have a quick look. Actually, no, I'll raid them. Oh shit, that's not how you do that. Shh. These also get uploaded to YouTube. If you want to hear the entire thing. I haven't paid attention to the YouTube. Apparently a few people have been listening to these podcasts after the fact. Oh, you've initiated the raid? Oh, there you go. Thanks for that, Ash. Thanks everyone who listened. Let us... I was going to say, like, give me comments and stuff, but it's probably best to do that in the YouTube video. If you, like, think of topics for us to talk about, or want to ask other questions for me or my dad, put it in YouTube comments. Ginger guy. I am a ginger guy. I'm assuming you're referring to me. Alright, can you raid off? Do you have to do the accept thing there, Ash? And I shall get tea. I haven't eaten yet. Because I can't click the raid since you started it. Mostly raid. Alright. Raid away. And I shall end stream. Boy. Also, yeah, comments down below. I'm curious.